Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we have a returning guest. He's a director, and he has the sequel to his first movie, which is called Ghosts in the Grove 2, The Unblemished. I have with us Robert Longo. Robert, welcome back to the Horror Realm.
Travis, thank you so much for having me back in the horror realm. It's great to be back.
It's always great to be back, have you on, my friend. So tell us a little bit about Ghosts in the Groves Part 2.
Sure. Ghost in the Grove Part 2 is our second movie in our 5-movie horrorverse that takes place in the Grove. This is the second one, so it's Ghost in the Grove 2. The UMBLETCH, another creature, rises up within the supernatural nexus town of the Grove, and chaos, evil, and blood ensues.
So is it tough as a filmmaker to do a sequel?
It's tough to do a sequel that makes sense and tie it in a way that's organic and not forced. And the good thing is, when we did Ghosts in the Grove, The Husband, we already planned to plant seeds in The Husband that would be reaped in the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth movie. So if you're a fan of the first movie and you've studied it and watched it more than once, you'll see that those seeds are planted early on and come to fruition in the second, third, the fourth, and hopefully that we get to the fifth movie.
Love it. Now, when you were making, well, right now there's an Indiegogo out, everyone, so definitely support that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, your intentions with the second one for each one to get a little bit bigger and explore more into the universe?
Yes. So the second one was supposed to be a different movie. It was supposed to be either Meatface or Lavore. Ghost in the Grove, Meatface, Ghost in the Grove, Lavore. But we realized at the beginning of the year that we didn't have the budget to do either of those the way we wanted to, and we didn't want to compromise. So we're like, oh, we'll do like a Ghost in the Grove kind of supernatural, paranormal activities kind of movie. Something simple with lots of jump scares and stuff. Well, we're too creative to do that, and it ended up another creature feature. We made up our own creature. We designed it ourselves. We made it ourselves. We made a whole lore around it and everything, and that's where we are now.
Now, it seems like I've noticed with horror, like horror is going away from the whole jump scare aspect, and it's going more into the creature itself. Why do you think that is?
I think it's like good world building. I think it attracts your audience. Like, they want to know about the creature, about its ecology, even. And I would even go as far as to say, with the rise of role playing games, be it horror ones or Dungeons and Dragons or anything, everyone loves a good creature feature. They love a good monster to learn about and then hopefully defeat.
And I totally agree from the wall back there. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Video game series, not the movies, the video game series, and it has some iconic monsters in that game, and it's fun to defeat them, but it's also fun to see the backstory behind each one of these characters, how they became the monster who they are.
Yep. And this monster that we have this time, the UMBLETCH, is very near and dear to my heart as a creator. Just briefly, an UMBLETCH is like an anti-muse. Artists seek a muse for inspiration, be it, a loved one, or even, one of the 9 muses, the goddesses themselves. But if there's a creature like that, a muse like that, there has to be an anti-muse, right? There has to be an evil thing. And as a creator, we all know, you're filled with self-doubt. You're filled with, the imposter syndrome. You wonder, is anybody going to like any of my stuff? And that's like the ghost or the demon that sits upon the shoulders of every artist, big and small, that tries to stop them from creating. And that's what the UMBLETCH is. It's a creature that sits upon you as a creative, be it a painter, an artist, or a video maker or whatever, and weighs heavily on you and whispers to you that you're useless, that what you are doing is no good. Nobody likes it. Nobody cares about you. You're garbage. And as it weighs heavily and heavily upon you, you don't create, and you die. You die on the vine, essentially. and you might not even know that you have this creature on you until it's too late, and it drives you to kill, or worse, to yourself in.
Not dealing with that monster right now as a YouTube creator, believe it or not.
We fight that
Because
monster every day, do we not?
yes. Because I mean, I'm so boom, 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 boom. But like, I just took like 5 days off. I was just like, I just didn't have the motivation to create for the channel anymore. And I'm like, well, the channel will be fine. There's enough content out there. But like now, in order to, this is the first interview I've done in a while, Robert. So like, but you have to keep those creative juices going. You have to keep that practice. That's how you become good. And and yes, this is a monster that's going to, you know, definitely a lot of horror creators are gonna be like, oh shit, I have to deal with that individual every damn day.
Right? We fight that monster every day, and if we don't create, that fire either burns us up or it gets extinguished, and that's the end. And you can't let that happen. Got to fight against the UMBLETCH. Can't let that win.
Yes. Now, when it came to actually creating the look for the UMBLETCH, where did you get your inspiration from?
So we get a lot of our inspiration from Polish folklore and mythology, and there are lots of interesting creatures in Polish and Slavic mythology and folklore. And essentially, Eva Moreau's the executive producer. She'll draw something kind of loosely based on Polish folklore, and I'll be like, "Oh, we could make that into our own monster. That could be something, and let's go in this direction." And that's how the La Lunga was born, how the UMBLETCH is born, and how probably the other monsters in our upcoming movies will be born.
I love that. I wish I had that artistic style that I could just put something together and put it on paper and be like, boom.
I think we all do, because like even the creature itself, it looks like a child, right? Because children are filled with creativity, and they don't judge themselves. They don't judge their creativity. They just create. They just play, right? That's the best road for creativity, is just to play. So they play, so it looks like a child, but it's faceless, almost featureless. And instead of having hands and feet, it has two sets of hands. The lower hands, where the feet would be, are like claws that really grab onto the artist and try to strangle the creativity and fire out of them.
Love it. And now, are we going to see some gore in the sequel?
Yep. So in Ghost of the Grove, the husband, we didn't have that much gore or blood. But as we get closer to doing Meatface, more blood is on its way. And in this one, it does get pretty bloody at one point. I'm very blessed. Cast and crew. I have an amazing cast for this. Thanks to them that it's even possible to make this movie. But one of our actresses, Marina, she plays like the cult leader of, I don't want to give too much away, of like the big bad of the whole horrorverse that we have. And she's using these other monsters to sort of weaken the veil, so the god that she worships can come through and, devour the world. And we shot a scene with her. It was bloody disgusting, I have to say. It definitely pushed the boundaries of what we thought we were going to originally do with this movie.
Now, are we going to see any returning characters from the husband in this?
Yes. Yep. You'll see quite a few of them, actually.
I
have to say, like, a lot of people you see in the background of the husband, they eventually come forward in the other movies as main characters. I don't waste any cast, crew, or resource. I like to use everything as much as I can. So you'll be like, oh my gosh, he was in that scene in The Husband. That's why he was reading that, or that's why she was doing that.
It's all going to make sense. Now, listen, right now you have an Indiegogo out right now.
Yes.
Tell us about some perks that are being offered.
Sure. We have the digital download of the movie, of course. Music plays a big part in this movie. There's a fictitious band within the movie called Wolf, Weapons of Lost Faith, that come to the Grove, kind of like an Airbnb, Craigslist thing, to kind of get the band back together and see if they can create again. But of course, the UMBLETCH latches on to one of them, and horror ensues. but we actually have songs that we made for the band. So we are going to release like a little EP of songs from the band Wolf, the soundtrack from The Husband, and 2 songs from a band we mention in the movie, but that you don't see. And then we have the 3D printed action figures, like we did for The Husband. Also, I wanted to do an Ouija board scene in the movie, but I'm like, everybody does Ouija board. I can't
Yeah.
do that. So I made my own board game, with the help of another writer, Fear and Desire, and it's kind of like a you roll a die, and you see if you have to do a fear or desire, and you draw whatever you fear or desire, and if somebody guesses, you get a point. So I made a whole game, rules, the box art, the dice, the hourglass, everything. So we might as well offer that as a perk too.
That's pretty awesome because I said recently in the interview, when it comes to Indiegogos, DVDs are great, posters are great, but like there has to be something else that stands your Indiegogo crowdfunding from others, and having action figures, having board games. Those are definitely things that stand out.
It's a little crazy because even we were shooting just the other day, and we have a prop, and it's a leather satchel that I handmade. My first handmade leather satchel. I went to Tandy's leatherworking and got a pattern, made it really cool as a prop, and we got so many compliments on it that now it's a perk. So now I'm offering to handmade 5 of them in the movie. So I can't help but make things. I love making stuff. So from board games to 3D printing stuff to satchels and movies.
See, I like stuff like that because it's almost like you have a piece of the movie.
Yes.
Taking with you.
Yep, it's cool to have a prop kind of replica kind of thing going on within the movie. And I like to offer a wide variety of stuff, Indiegogo-wise, from scented candles to digital downloads, the posters, like you said, and now even, music albums.
Now, is it tough right now? To have a crowdfunding program going out. There's so many filmmakers are using crowdfunding. Not even filmmakers, authors and comic book creators. Is it hard to stand out?
I think it's very hard. The strength of your crowdfunding campaign stands on your email list and the amount of attention you can give it every day.
So it's one of the things you just can't put out there and just leave it alone.
No. And even now, I'll talk frankly. I've done 4 crowdfunding, including this one. 2 of them very successful. Pirates of the Airwaves, the WSOU story, we exceeded our goal. Ghost in the Grove, The Husband, we exceeded our goal. My first crowdfunding was for a superhero thing I did. I just put it out there and left it alone. It died on the vine. This one, because we're shooting at the same time, I have not given enough attention that I wanted to, but now we're at a better spot, so now hopefully I'll be able to put that attention on it and it'll be successful. Because all of your, sweet audience that decide to help us.
Now, how many days is left on the crowdfunding?
I think 15.
15, okay. So it's coming to near.
The time goes so fast. It's terrible.
It does. But life goes by fast.
It does. I feel like it was just not that long ago that we first talked.
I know, and almost 2 years in, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And then what question I'm going to ask you though, Travis?
Go ahead.
Have you written any horror yourself?
Have I been in any horror?
Have you written any?
I have not. I have some great stories. I'm
waiting for the Travis Bruce, crowdfunding campaign still. I will be the first to back it.
I appreciate it. Well, I'm going to back yours because I back everybody who I interview. But that's a great question. I was pitching someone at work today. I was because I was explaining to them, I was when it comes to indie horror, it's such a niche genre. It's just a niche thing. And when I see indie horror filmmakers, they'll pay for I don't know. Trying to use okay, Felissa Rose. Let's say it's Felissa Rose. They're going to pay Felissa Rose to be in a movie for 10 minutes. But the average person, if you put Felissa Rose on your movie poster, the average person, when I say person, which is even horror fans, don't even know who the hell Felissa Rose is by name. That's that 10% of like hardcore horror fans, like, oh, Felissa Rose, that's blah blah blah, And so I was like, I said, if I was going to make a movie, I would have someone like, J.J. Walker from Good Times, like to the point where, like, yes, he's not relevant or anything, but people's like, I know who that is, I know that name, and it would be name recognition even for the casual horror fans.
No, I think that's important, and we haven't done that yet, but it is on my mind to do it for the next movie at least. That at every level of filmmaking, if you have some sort of star power that brings in some sort of built-in audience, of X amount, it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. And I wish I was better with names for actors and actresses so I could pursue them better to get them in the next movie, because I would love some of that built-in star power and built-in audience that they bring, especially in horror, because horror fans are rabid for their rabid for their the talent that's out there, old and new.
But I would put a common name, like, a common name that people would know. Like I said, most people don't know who Felissa Rose is. That's us horror fans, horror fans, but horror fans are not the biggest consumer of horror of watching. That's the casual horrors. So I would put someone in that, like, I don't know, Miguel Nunez or someone like, oh, I know who he is. He's from Joanna Man or something.
Right,
it would have to be someone that people were like, I know who that person is just by name,
I feel like I have to cozy up to like casting directors to get like that actor or actress who's either like trying to get back into it, because their careers go in phases and stuff. Somebody who's trying to get into it, or like their last hurrah and they're willing to do it. Like look at Demi Moore, superstar. Yes. Her horror movie is doing awesome. I know people are going to see it tonight, even. So Demi Moore, if they're available,
would be great. Yes, Demi Moore. Or even Nicolas Cage.
All right, so Eva and I joke all the time because Nicolas Cage is a big geek at heart. Big Superman fan, big comic book fan. Has been in several comic book movies, and really he's in every genre imaginable, especially horror lately. That eventually we would like him in one of our movies. That's like a milestone I would like to hit. Get a movie on Netflix. Get Nicolas Cage in one of my movies.
Oh, Nicolas Cage was one of my favorite actors. I know he's not. Let's say I know he's not a great actor, but like, he's
a great actor in the right part. He is
in the right part in a goofy in the movie. But even like in like 8mm is one of my favorite movies. It's my favorite Nicolas Cage movie, and he is so great in that. And that's not a jokey movie. That's a serious movie. Yeah, he does great in that. So. Yep. So yeah,
I love him in Face Off. I love him in The Rock.
Con Air.
I love him in
Guys.
In that movie recently where he plays himself.
Oh yes, that movie. I love that movie. I know the one with the crap.
With the guy from The Mandalorian. Terrible names.
Yes, I know exactly. But that movie's excellent.
Excellent.
I mean, he's even there's an indie horror movie he did a couple years ago that was called Mandy.
Yeah, it was great.
Mandy. Mandy's amazing. So Nicolas Cage, yes, I would love. That's who I would cast in my indie horror movie if I ever made.
Give me like the 4th or 5th movie in our Grove series, and maybe we'll be able to get him.
Or Danny Trejo. I'll put Danny Trejo into
anything. In anything. Yeah. I have 2 movie ideas that he would be perfect for.
I feel like he's like gettable too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like he's gettable to get into your movie.
Because you know what, people like Danny and Nicholas, they love the craft of acting. Mm-hmm. So they'll take a part if it resonates with them in some degree.
It's not about the money.
No, I mean, getting paid is great, I'm sure, but they take roles for sure that they're like, I just love this part, I want to play it.
Yes, that's what I would get. Danny Trejo and Nicolas Cage, I feel like they are. I feel like they would say yes. If any big name actor would say yes, they would say yes to indie horror movies because I see them in a lot of them.
Okay. Goals.
Yes, goals, right? So that is like, yes, I have several projects in my head, but I'm like, I mean, I know the stress and the strain on making indie horror movies. I mean, it's you got to work in your budget too, and like gotta figure out this. Are you gonna do crowdfunding, or are you gonna do a loan, or are you gonna do investors? It's just so many moving aspects, and I work a full time job and have a life. I have a YouTube channel. I'm like, when will I find time to even do that?
When the one idea strikes you that you just have to, and
Yes.
it's burning through, you'll do it.
I might be better as not as a filmmaker. I might be better as the like you said, the writer or the idea person. Like because I have great ideas for. By the way, any filmmakers, if you need a fresh idea, hit me up. I have tons of them, and I mean down to the T that I think would be great horror movies that will hook your audience in.
All right, after my fifth movie, I'm going to hit you up for some
Yes,
ideas because I'm out of
yes.
ideas after this fifth one comes about, I think.
All right, Robert, where can everyone find you, my friend?
You can definitely find me on Indiegogo for Ghosts in the Grove 2, the UMBLETCH. You can find me at 2121productions.com. You can find me on Instagram, 2121productions LLC, and my personal Instagram, Snap Zoom Click, if you want to see the behind the scenes stuff of my life.
Awesome. Now, where can one find Ghosts in the Grove Part 1?
So Ghost in the Grove, the husband, is getting re-released this Thursday on Halloween on YouTube with the Kings of Horror YouTube channel. Not sure what time yet, but on Halloween, Ghost in the Grove, the husband, Part 1, Kings of Horror on YouTube this Halloween.
So listen, and I know the guys at Kings of Horror, they're awesome. Yes. By the way, they actually want me to join them, and I was like, I don't have time. they're pretty awesome. I wish I had time. I would add on to that.
They're real fans and very supportive of the indie scene.
Yes.
You know, I have nothing but great things to say about them, and it's refreshing.
So, Patrick, if you're watching, love you guys. Listen,
Patrick.
Yes, maybe next year Travis will come on and help you guys, but right now I am bogged down. So I would love to come on.
You're going to come to that crossroads, Travis.
Collab with you guys. Yes. All right. Listen, everybody, get your asses over there and support Rob's campaign. The link is down going to be in the description. It's only a couple more days, so some excellent perks as well. And also, like I said, get over to Kings of Horror YouTube channel. And by the way, go ahead and subscribe to those guys. They have a lot of great content up there. And on Halloween, if you want something spooky to watch Ghost in the Grove, the husband, Halloween. Robert, once again, man, it's always a blast to have you on, brother.
Travis, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, my friend. And listen, everybody, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. That's Robert Longo. We'll see you next time. Take care.